get yourself set into place. Find yourself on the ground. You really just need a couple blankets, a couple blocks. If you don't have that, it's okay. You can make do. Feel your body settle, feel the weight of your head settle in. Notice the movement of your breath and really finding ourselves in this neutral plane where we're not making so much effort to hold ourselves up or to sit upright, but we can really start to feel the structure, the weight, the groundedness of our body and our connection to the earth beneath us. Anytime we move through these transitional phases, it's really great to come back to grounding and come back to the earth so that we feel settled in the moment that we're in and can prepare for the future. Place your palms on your body. Start to feel your natural breath coming and going. So without making too much effort, notice the natural expansion and contraction of the belly with each breath, the rise and fall, the give and take, softening your eyes, softening your jaw. Take a deeper breath in and just exhale a sigh out through your mouth. And with that exhale, allowing that sense of settling, groundedness. See what sensations come into your awareness. Another way to do this, if you like, is to take a block and you just rest the block right there on your belly. Right? And that just gives you a little point of feedback. And then as you breathe, you can make a little bit more effort to try and lift that block up towards the ceiling and feel the weight of the block come down. Slide your feet apart, rest your inner knees together. So you're in this different variation of a constructive rest shape. Feel the shape of a triangle between your knees connected and your feet wide. And then continuing to feel that expansion and contraction of your breath, count up and down your breath. So let's go for the number 5 today, counting slowly as you inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then exhaling. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Continue counting in your own mind. And then check in with that. Sometimes when we start to count our breath, what happens is if we have a tendency towards really hyper focus, we can become really hyper vigilant about this practice or anxious because we forget to count or because we count too fast or too slow or the inhale or the exhale feels a little bit effortful. So I want you to really find a sense of ease within this count. And if that means counting to 3 or 4, count to 3 or 4. If you feel like your breath is more spacious, count to 6 or 7. And allowing this just to be enough for now, the simplicity of your breath, your connection to the ground, the support of the earth, the sense of settling. When we go through transition, we have to find out where we are in the moment that we're in. And we have to really ground ourselves in that moment so that we can evaluate how we want to move through that transition, how we want to support ourselves through a process of change. Taking just a few more breaths here. Noticing any areas that you might be gripping or holding on, in the shoulders, in your jaw, in your chest, in your hips, whatever it might be for you. If your mind starts to move, let it move. And the beauty of these practices, this effort of grounding, it's really a practice of coming back to ourselves, coming home to ourselves and really coming home to our breath. And so when we take this time to really get to know our breath and to feel its patterns and to feel its rhythms, it's like it's giving us a pathway back, right? And it's so much easier to go out into the world and explore, to make new connections and make new relationships when we know the way back home. Taking a last big breath in through your nose, exhale out through your mouth. Again, let out a sigh. Move that block out of the way or release your palms, whichever position you're in. Give yourself a little space here. You might take your feet a little wider, and then you'll rest your hands on your hips and you start to tilt through your pelvis. Really slow, easy movement. Rocking towards your tail, let your lower back arch off of the ground, and then rocking towards your lower back, feel a little tuck of your tail. And so we're not lifting the hips off of the ground here, just rocking, and letting the sitting bones curl up to the back of the knees, and then rooting the sitting bones back to the floor. And just feeling the hands right there in the pelvis to feel the movement, to help kind of guide the movement a little. And then release it and let it go. Rock your knees from side to side. Turn your head in the opposite direction. Make this a really gentle, easy, flowing movement. right? No need to get to any destination, no need to go to any depth. It's finding your natural boundaries of limitation. And then bringing yourself back to the middle. And now we'll set up for a series of bridges. We're going to start with a low bridge. And so you can do this either on a flat or middle height of one block. And you just kind of gauge to see what sort of opening you want today. And then bending your elbows, bring the back of your arms to the floor. So you're in this kind of cactus position. Slowly extend your right leg down the length of the mat. Take a hold of your right wrist with your left hand. And then you might stay there, or you can start to arc the upper body over to the left. And then maybe slide that right heel a little over towards that bottom left corner of the mat. And so you create this crescent moon banana shape in the right side of the body. Check in with yourself. If the side body stretch feels too intense, find a neutral spine. If the block is too high, go lower. You could even do this practice without the block at all if you wanted to just get the side body opening. Feel your breath moving more into your right side body, right lung, expanding and contracting. Try to imagine your breath crossing your body from your left nostril to your right lung. Slowly start to bring your upper body to the center, rebend your knee, set your foot to the floor. Transition, extend your left leg. Take your left wrist with your right hand. Check in. You might decide to stay in a neutral spinal alignment, or you can start to open that left side body. Opening first the upper body, and then maybe sliding left foot over towards the right, any amount. Again, it's not about getting to the biggest stretch here. Find an even spacious opening from left wrist to left ankle, finding that edge of sensation where you feel change happening, you feel some effort, right? But you're not gripping to hold yourself in that space. You can maintain. Taking breath right nostril to left lung, expanding left side ribs, left waist. And then bringing yourself back to the middle, rebend your knees, set your feet to the floor, back of the arms down again, elbows bent. And then you might choose to stay as you are, or if you have two blocks and want to go higher, you can take the blocks and stack them flat and wide. So that's one variation. And then those of you who feel like you have even more in you, flip the blocks so that they're on the tallest height, and you can lift your heels to help you get there. So making sure you're really feeling stable and balanced, especially the higher you go here. So one block is under the right hip, one block is under the left hip, or if you're in that lower version, the width of the block is really underneath your pelvis. And then coming back to your breath, notice as you start to create change in the form of different shapes within your body, how your breath shifts. Use that as a gauge to know when to come back, when to back out of it a little, when it's time to move forward. Check in with the back of your neck. If you notice that your neck is really close to the floor, even on the floor, lift your chin slightly. Give yourself a little extra space so you maintain that natural curve of your neck. Taking your breath into the sides of your ribs so you can feel right and left side ribs moving apart as you breathe in, and then drawing back together as you breathe out. So we're always working with this polarity of the body expanding outward as we bring the breath in, the reception, and then the body contracting back inward as we release the breath out. Every inhale begins with an exhale. Every new beginning starts with a closure, a release, a contraction. If at any point the sensation of holding the shape feels a little intense, you start to get any sort of pinching or pain in your low back, come down a little bit, maybe even come out of it and come back to that first constructive rest starting position with the hips on the floor. Slowly start to release yourself out. Come back to your constructive rest, hips to the floor, knees together, feet wide. Rest your hands, palms on your body, right hand on your chest, left hand on your belly. And then draw your right knee into your chest. Give a little hug, extend your left leg, and we're start to move it towards a twist. And now you can set up a block underneath that right knee if you want a little bit of extra support. You can even just rest your right foot inside of your left leg, turning your gaze over your right shoulder. Take your breath again towards your right side body, back of the right lung. Give yourself permission to be as supported as you need here. We're not forcing any of these shapes. And come out of it slowly when you're ready. Hug your knee back into your chest. Take your hands behind your leg and then just start to extend and bend that leg. Kick the heel up and then bend the knee back in. Just opening the back of the knee. And then extending the leg, point and flex the foot. Start to circle your ankle a few times each direction just to loosen up the ankle joint. Then bending your knee again, extend your leg, and bring the left knee into the chest. Take your left arm out to the side, cross your leg over, start to find your twist. And again, you can set that block underneath your inner left knee. Take your gaze over your left shoulder and start to direct your breath right nostril to left lung again. And then slowly coming out of it, bring your knee back into your chest, extending and bending. Making some slow circles each direction with your ankle, squeezing and stretching your toes, just starting to loosen yourself up. And bringing knee back into your chest, set your foot down, bend your right knee, place your foot down as well. Slide your knees right over your hips so your feet are floating. Bring your palms onto your kneecaps. And then hug your knees to your body. And so as you inhale, press the knees away. As you exhale, hug the knees in. Rock up and down your back. Bring yourself up to sit.